The moment you truly relax, everything begins to change. Not when you force, not when you chase, but when you finally let go of the struggle inside your own mind. Have you ever noticed how the harder you push life, the further it seems to pull away? How the more you try to control everything, the more anxious and powerless you feel? What if the very tension you carry is the only thing blocking everything you want? The Stoics believed this deeply, that peace does not come from bending the world to your will. It comes from mastering the only thing you ever truly control, your inner state. And when your mind becomes calm, life begins to move again. In this video, you'll discover how relaxation, acceptance, and self-mastery unlock a different kind of power. Not loud, not desperate, but unstoppable. We begin at the foundation of all freedom, with what you must stop trying to control. Number 10. Accept what you cannot control. You can't steer the wind. You can pull the sails, you can set the direction. But the wind, that was never yours. Most of our suffering comes from one exhausting habit, trying to dominate what will never obey us. Other people's choices, the past, the timing of outcomes, random loss, sudden change. Epictetus said it plainly: some things are up to us, and some things are not. The mistake is living as if everything should bend to your will. Think about how much energy you burn each day fighting reality, replaying conversations, worrying about outcomes you can't guarantee, trying to control how others feel, think, or act, and then wondering why you feel tense, restless, trapped. Acceptance is not weakness. It is precision. It is knowing exactly where your power ends, so your real power can finally begin. When you stop wrestling the uncontrollable, something strange happens. Your mind grows lighter. Your decisions grow clearer. Your energy returns. Marcus Aurelius wrote that you always have power over your mind, not outside events. When you accept that truth, you stop leaking strength into places where it can never grow. You still act, you still plan, you still strive. But now you move with reality, not against it. And that is the first quiet step toward inner freedom. But acceptance alone isn't enough. There's a choice in how you see the world. Number 9. Your mind shapes your suffering. Pain is not the brick, it's the label. Two people walk through the same storm. One breaks, the other bends and keeps moving. What's the difference? It's not the rain, it's not the wind. It's the story they tell themselves about what's happening. The Stoics understood this with terrifying clarity. Events are neutral. Your judgment is not. You lose a job, that's an event. Your mind says, I am a failure. Now suffering begins. Someone rejects you, that's an event. Your mind says, I am unworthy. Now suffering multiplies. Epictetus taught that people are not disturbed by things, but by the views they take of those things. In other words, pain enters through interpretation, not impact. This is uncomfortable to hear because it means something confronting. Your freedom begins where your excuses usually live. And here is the twist most people never notice. The same mind that creates suffering is the exact mind that can dissolve it. When you learn to question your thoughts, instead of blindly believing them, you interrupt the chain reaction of emotional pain. You create space. You regain choice. Instead of, "This ruined me," you begin to say, "This challenged me." Instead of, "I can't recover," you begin to say, "This will shape me." Nothing about the situation changes, but everything about your inner experience does. And this is where real power begins, not in controlling events, but in mastering the meaning you assign to them. Once you see how powerful your mind is, the next step is to strengthen your inner habits. Number 8, focus on effort, not outcome. Winner or loser, you decide by trying. Most people measure their life by results, by trophies, by approval, by visible victories. The Stoics measured life by something far quieter, effort, because outcomes are never fully yours. Markets shift, people change, timing betrays even the most perfect plans. But effort, that belongs to you alone. Marcus Aurelius wrote that you should never stop acting according to your nature, to do purposeful work with excellence, regardless of reward. Not because the world will always respond, but because your character always will. Here's the trap most people fall into. They only feel successful when the result is favorable. And when the result slips away, so does their confidence. That creates emotional dependence on things they don't control. A dangerous way to live. The Stoic flips the equation. They ask one question at the end of every day. Did I give honest effort? If the answer is yes, they are already victorious, even if the world says otherwise. This mindset creates unstoppable consistency, because now you don't quit when progress is slow. You don't collapse when the outcome disappoints you. You simply return to the work, day after day, quietly, relentlessly. And here is the paradox. When you stop obsessing over outcomes, your outcomes often improve, because your energy is no longer split between action and anxiety. You are finally all in on the process. But effort needs fuel, and that fuel is your emotional regulation. Number 7, train your emotional ground. Calm emotion with reason. Storms are outside. Tsunami begins inside. The world will always shake. Noise, conflict, pressure, uncertainty. Those are the storms outside. But, the real destruction rarely comes from events. It comes from the emotional surge inside you after they hit. Anger exploding, fear spiraling, pride reacting before thought. The Stoics didn't try to erase emotion, they trained it. They knew emotions are fast, but reason is steady. Seneca warned that anger is only one letter away from danger. Not because anger is evil, but because unexamined anger removes choice. Here is the shift Stoicism teaches. You don't need to fight emotion. You need to pause before obeying it. When something triggers you, ask one quiet question. Is this reaction helping me or hijacking me? That pause, even for one breath, changes everything. It slows the nervous system. It invites clarity back into the room. It puts you in the captain's seat again. Detachment doesn't mean you stop feeling. It means you stop drowning in what you feel. Instead of reacting, you respond. Instead of exploding, you choose. And every time you do that, you strengthen your emotional ground. You become harder to shake, harder to provoke, harder to manipulate. This is not weakness. This is emotional dominance. With inner calm established, you can finally begin to build real resilience. Number 6. Gratitude anchors you in what is real. What you don't appreciate, you lose. Not always physically, but mentally, emotionally, spiritually. You can live inside abundance and still feel poor. Most people believe they'll be grateful after life improves, after the money comes, after the success lands, after the relationship is perfect. The Stoics reversed that thinking. They understood something quietly dangerous. A mind trained on lack will never feel full, no matter how much it gains. Seneca warned that it is not the man who has little, but the man who desires more, who is truly poor. Gratitude isn't denial. It doesn't ignore struggle. It simply locks your attention onto what is actually real. Right now, your breath, your health, your shelter, your next chance to choose well. And here's the psychological shift most people miss. What you focus on grows in your perception. If you train your mind on scarcity, it multiplies. If you train your mind on value, it multiplies instead. Gratitude quietly rewires the brain from threat scanning to opportunity seeing, from desperation to stability, from anxiety to grounded power. This doesn't make you passive, it makes you precise. You stop chasing from emptiness and start building from solidity. And when your foundation is solid, your actions don't come from panic. They come from intention. Grounded through the door. Number 5, live by values, not by outcomes. Don't chase applause, chase character. Applause is loud, addictive, temporary. Character is quiet, unseen, permanent. Most people build their decisions around outcomes, profit, recognition, status, winning. But outcomes are unstable. They rise and collapse without warning. And when your identity is tied to them, so is your peace. The Stoics anchored their lives somewhere far stronger, in values: courage, justice, discipline, wisdom. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself daily to do what is right, regardless of whether anyone notices, because the measure of a life is not what it earns, but what it becomes. When you choose actions based on values, something powerful happens. You no longer need perfect conditions to stay consistent. You don't need approval to stay grounded. You don't need victory to remain worthy. Your behavior stops bending with the crowd. Your direction stops swerving with circumstance. This is how meaning becomes stable, not tied to praise, not tied to outcome, but rooted in principle. Living this way does not guarantee success in the world's eyes, but it guarantees something rarer: self-respect. And self-respect becomes the fuel of long-term discipline. The kind that outlasts motivation. The kind that turns struggle into sharpening. Because when values lead, even setbacks are no longer humiliations. They become lessons. They become data. When values guide you, failures turn into feedback. Number 4, regard obstacles as opportunities. That which blocks you shapes you. Every life meets resistance, delay, loss, failure, betrayal. The question is never if obstacles appear. The question is who you become when they do. Most people see hardship as proof that life is against them. The Stoic sees hardship as proof that life is training them. Marcus Aurelius wrote that what stands in the way becomes the way. Not poetically, but practically. The very thing that blocks your path becomes the tool that sharpens you. Pressure builds strength. Rejection builds identity. Failure builds precision. Fire does not weaken steel, it reveals it. Here is the shift that changes everything. You can either interpret obstacles as punishment or as preparation. One mindset shrinks you, the other forges you. Think about the moments that shaped you most. They weren't the easy victories. They were the nights you nearly broke and didn't. The seasons you wanted to quit and stayed. The losses that rearranged your priorities permanently. Obstacles don't arrive to stop you. They arrive to strip away what was fragile. They expose weak habits, false identities, unexamined fears. And once those are gone, what remains is real strength. Not loud strength, quiet strength. The kind that doesn't need to prove itself. This is why two people can face the same hardship, and one is shattered, while the other is sculpted. The obstacle was the same, the interpretation was not. With strength and calm, you begin to craft a truly stable foundation. Number 3, choose your inner world regardless of outer chaos. They may break your day. Don't give them your mind. Chaos is contagious. A rude comment, a missed deadline, a world spinning faster than you can track. Most people surrender instantly. They let every external disturbance dictate their mood. Their day becomes the weather outside instead of the climate they control inside. The Stoics practiced a different path. Epictetus wrote, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react that matters." You cannot control the world, but you can control your mind. Your inner world is your sanctuary. When preserved, nothing outside can steal your calm. Anger, observed not absorbed. Frustration, not denied but released. Disruption, not your master. This is a practice, not a theory. Notice when your mind drifts to blame, resentment, or panic. Catch it, question it, redirect it to thought that serves you. Like a gardener tending a delicate plant, you remove weeds before they choke the growth. You choose focus instead of frenzy. You choose clarity instead of chaos. And when your inner ground is solid, even the world's storms cannot shake you. Meet conflict with reason. Meet delay with patience. Meet insult with indifference to harm you. This doesn't make life easier. It makes life livable. It gives you freedom in situations where most feel trapped. It creates a mind that acts instead of reacts. Once inner ground is solid, you can face anything. Number 2, accept uncertainty. Life is unpredictable. You don't have to be. Control was a myth. Resilience is real. We plan, we calculate, we imagine every scenario. And yet life rarely obeys our scripts. Traffic jams, sudden layoffs, a call that changes everything. The mind rebels. Fear rises. Anxiety tightens like a vice. Here is the Stoic shift. You cannot control the world, only your response. And when you accept that uncertainty is permanent, something remarkable happens. Your energy stops being spent on resisting the inevitable. It starts flowing into what you can master, your character, your habits, your focus. Seneca advised, "He is most powerful who has power over himself." Power over yourself, not over the chaos around you. Embracing uncertainty is not resignation. It is liberation. It is knowing that no storm lasts forever, and that your resilience is stronger than any gale. This mindset dissolves fear of the unknown. It turns surprise into opportunity. It turns unpredictability into training for adaptability. You start to move with life rather than against it. Your calm becomes an anchor. Your clarity becomes a compass. And as you practice this, the world's unpredictability stops being a threat. It becomes a mirror, reflecting your own capacity to endure, adapt, and grow. And finally, that leads to a deeper transformation. Number 1, true freedom, mastery of self, not world. Freedom isn't external, it's internal. All the power, wealth, and influence in the world cannot guarantee peace. External circumstances shift, crumble, and betray. Only one thing remains steady: the state of your own mind. The Stoics called this self-mastery. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself daily, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Realize this, and you will find strength. No one can invade the fortress you build inside. No chaos can shake it. True freedom is the ability to remain calm when others panic, to act with clarity when others are frantic, to choose virtue over impulse every single time. It is the understanding that happiness does not depend on applause or outcome. It depends on your judgments, your discipline, your values. When you master these, life's fluctuations no longer dictate your peace. Every practice we've explored, acceptance, gratitude, effort, emotional control, embracing obstacles, they converge here. They form the architecture of self-mastery. Relaxation, perspective, and deliberate choice. These are the keys that unlock your inner freedom. Imagine walking through a storm, yet feeling perfectly calm. Not because the storm obeys you, but because you obey yourself. Your mind, unshakable. Your purpose, unmovable. Your life, yours alone. Because once you master yourself, True freedom was never out there waiting for perfect conditions. It was always built inside you, one choice at a time. You don't need total control to live with peace. You need clarity, discipline, and the courage to master yourself first. When you relax your grip on what you can't command and strengthen what you can, your mind, your values, your actions, life stops feeling like a battle and starts feeling like a path. Carry these principles with you, practice them daily, and watch how quietly, yet powerfully, everything begins to change.